book is Owen's Walk by Karen Hill. The theme is to overcome things and not give up.
Yeah.
Is it ready? Owen called as he raced into the kitchen, the screen door flapping behind him. The boy washed his hands, then gave his grandmother a half hug before plopping down on the thick phone book that rested on the chair. Mimi smoothed her apron with flour-dusted fingers. She leaned over in the oven door to retrieve a loaf of crusty bran bread. "It's ready," she called. Owen liked having a special spot at his grandmother's table. It felt good to know where he belonged and that his place was ready for him. "Tell me about your morning," Mimi urged as she brought Owen a hot, buttery slice of bread. "Okie dokie," Owen said between bites. "I went to my favorite place, the barn. First, I gave old Hobo some oats, and then I made a pirate ship out of the hay bales. And then I found the mama cat. She has 3 new kittens. And then—" "Goodness, you've been a busy boy," Mimi said with a smile. "Mimi, you have the best farm in the whole world. I wish I could stay longer." "I know," Mimi said in her gentlest voice, "but we'll see each other again soon." Owen scooped up the last breadcrumb and scooped it into his mouth. "What's all that stuff?" he asked, pointing to a jumble of items on the counter. "I'm packing some things for your adventure." "Adventure?" Owen asked. "Sure, it'll be more fun if you think of your journey as an adventure," Mimi said as she filled Owen's backpack with a harmonica, a belt, a small spade, a jar, and a key. Mimi continued packing, a lunch, breadcrumbs for the squirrels, and this. "It's the most important of all," she said, reaching for the brown leather book. "What's that?" Owen said. "It's the Book of Signs." Mimi opened the book to the first page and read, "This book is for Owen, to help you on your way. Be careful and watchful, and on the path you'll stay." Mimi sat down with Owen, and then they looked through the book together. "The pictures in this book will remind you of the Bible verse you've learned. When you are unsure about your journey, pull out this book. The Book of Signs has the answers you'll need." Owen hesitated. "But, Mimi, I've never gone by myself. What if I get lost? I'm just a kid, you know." "Don't be afraid. You have everything you need to get home. Your father went ahead to make a path for you. Just stay on your father's path. You'll get along fine." The two stepped onto the back porch. Mimi held the backpack as Owen weaved his arms through the straps. Owen started up the trail that would lead him through the woods. He turned and waved to his grandmother. And so began Owen's walk. Owen hadn't gone very far when the path split into the 2 trails. Unsure which path to take, he remembered his grandmother's words. "The Book of Signs has the answers you'll need." He pulled out the soft leather book. On the first page, Owen saw 2 signs. One was a crooked arrow pointing to the left. The other was a straight arrow pointing to the right. "I know," Owen said. "Stay to the right path." The boy smiled and took the path to the right. It wasn't long before Owen heard a sound coming from the deep woods. It was coming closer. It sounded like an elephant stampeding toward him. Quickly, Owen crawled into a smelly, hollow log, just big enough for one boy in a full backpack. Owen turned to the next page in the Book of Signs, saw a picture of a child with his guardian angel nearby. "That's right, I don't have to be afraid," Owen said. "God's with me everywhere I go." When he peeked out, he was surprised. It was a deer. Owen wriggled out of his hiding place and dusted himself off. "Here, little deer, I won't hurt you," he said. The deer stood still, watching him. Owen pulled the harmonica out of his backpack and loaded it up and continued his journey of his backpack and began to play his favorite tune for the deer. His concert finished, Owen loaded up his backpack and continued his journey. Owen liked everything about the deep woods, the crunch of the leaves under his feet, the plop of acorns falling to the ground, bugs going about their day. But suddenly, Owen tripped and tumbled into the deep ditch. Covered in dirt and leaves, his elbows scraped and sore. Owen worried. "There's no one here to help me out of this ditch." He turned another page in the Book of Signs and saw a picture of a strong man's arm. "God will make me strong. He will help me. God, please help me." Owen prayed as he reached into his backpack and found the belt Mimi had packed. Holding one end of the belt, Owen tossed the other end over the branch above, and then looped it through the buckle. Now he could pull himself back up the path. Owen continued on his way until he came to a brook. How could he cross the water? "I didn't know adventures could be so tough," Owen said to himself. But Mimi always says, a problem is a chance to show God that you trust him to be your helper. Once again, Owen opened the Book of Signs. He found a picture of a big rock. "God is my rock. I can go to him." Owen looked around. That's it. Rock steps. He took the small spade and dug up 2 large, flat rocks. He threw them into the brook. Then Owen leaped from the edge of the brook to the first rock, then on to the next, and finally to the path on the other side. Owen began to run. He didn't slow down until the sun began to slip behind the treetops, and long, dark shadows covered the path. He opened the book of signs. The next picture showed a bright light shining out of the darkness. God will give light to my lamp. Just then Owen noticed flickering through the trees lightning bugs. He took over the jar from his backpack and opened it. The blinking bugs floated into the jar. Now I have to light the path. Finally up ahead a bright light glowed. It was the light of home, Owen shouted. Lights poured out of every window. Lanterns blazed on the front porch. Owen's father stood in the open doorway, key in hand. Owen unlocked the gate and raced to his father. Dad, I made it. I followed the book of signs and stayed on the path. Dad smiled. Owen was home, safe in his father's home.